VAR blunder during Marcus Rashford red card and more Man United moments missed versus Copenhagen. Manchester United suffered heartbreak at Parken Stadium on Wednesday night as they were beaten 4-3 by FC Copenhagen. Erik ten Hag's side were 2-0 and 3-2 up on a chaotic night in the Danish capital before collapsing at the end of each half after going down to 10 men, following a red card for Marcus Rashford. Rasmus Højlund scored twice for the Reds, with Bruno Fernandes injecting some late hope with a second-half penalty. But a late comeback saw Lucas Larager equalize before Rooney Bargi's late winner. United are now bottom of Group A, having lost 3 of their 4 Champions League games. They have 2 games left to save their campaign. This was United's first trip to Copenhagen since the 1-0 defeat back in 2006, and the home side were hoping to harness the energy from that night 17 years ago. Before kickoff, a number of players from that game were paraded around Parken Stadium. Including goalscorer Marcus Alback, the home fans also unfurled a banner depicting that famous win below the words "Your Theatre of Nightmares," to which the travelling Reds responded with "What the F*** G hell was that?" And the United players seem to have been motivated by it as well, starting brilliantly and opening the scoring inside 3 minutes. Ten Hag approves. That excellent start saw Højlund open the scoring and United dominate possession. Copenhagen were passive and the atmosphere was significantly dampened. The players were linking play well and looked comfortable, much to the delight of Ten Hag. The Dutchman was on the edge of his dugout clapping vigorously and approvingly of his side in the opening exchanges. VAR confusion, everything was going smoothly for United until Rashford tried to shield the ball and landed on Elias Gillert's ankle. There was notable tension inside Parken Stadium, but then a cheer from the away end when the screen inside the ground showed "Check over." That joy didn't last long, however, and there was clearly a miscommunication as referee Donatas Rumsas then gave the signal for an on-field review. After a brief check, he brandished the red card and any confusion was quickly cleared up, unfortunately for Rashford. Maguire reaction: Copenhagen scored twice in quick succession after that red card and United came out after halftime a man down and at 2-2. But Ten Hag's side continued to assert themselves and continued to be the better side. And with little over 20 minutes left, Harry Maguire thought his side should have had a penalty when he headed the ball onto a Copenhagen arm. So sure was the defender that he ran to pick up the dead ball before the VAR check had even begun. The spot kick was given and duly converted by Fernandes, who looked set to be the match winner once again. A familiar chant: Fernandes was not the match winner, as that award fell to Copenhagen substitute Bargi. The 17-year-old looked electric after coming on, and he fired a volley past Andre Onana to send the home fans wild. The celebration sounded all too familiar for United fans, with the Copenhagen supporters chanting "Rooney! Rooney! Rooney!" It's hard to ignore the irony there, even though it's a painful one to take. Confirmed 11, Rashford back to face Copenhagen, Højlund, Fernandes and Garnacho also start as Ten Hag seeks victory in Denmark. Manchester United return to UEFA Champions League action on Wednesday evening as they travel to Denmark to face FC Copenhagen. United beat the Danish side a fortnight ago, registering their first victory in the competition this season, a terrible start for Erik ten Hag's side. United have not just started terribly in the Champions League this season, they are also out of the Carabao Cup, beaten by Newcastle United, last season's finalists, and have lost 5 of their 11 matches in the Premier League so far this season. United need results, and fast. United have lost to both Bayern Munich and Galatasaray in the Champions League so far this season, so a victory here will put them in good stead to get out of the group. However, they will need to beat both Bayern and Galatasaray in the last 2 group stage matches to be certain. Manchester United squad: Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Evans, Dalot, McTominay, Eriksen, Rashford, Fernandes, Garnacho, Højlund. Substitutes: Bayender, Heaton, Lindelof, Reguilon, Varane, Amrabat, Mount, Hannibal, Forsen, Martial, Antony, Pellistri. FC Copenhagen squad: Grabara, Enkersen, Vavro, Dix, Gillert, Larager, Falk, Goncalves, Elyounoussi, Klaassen, Akuri. Substitutes: Sander, Dithmer, Sorensen, Tanlongo, Larsen, Babakar, Oscarsson, Boylsson, Lund, Højlund, Bargi, Froholt. United have boosted their confidence in the 1-0 victory over Fulham in the Premier League on Saturday, although they did leave it late to get the win. 3 points were a must for United, and that's what they got, which took some pressure off Ten Hag in the end. United will need the same game plan against Copenhagen on Wednesday evening, as they will need 3 points from this match to have any chance of getting out of the group this season, even if it saw them exit into the UEFA Europa League for the second part of the season. United will need to get themselves out of the problems that have arisen this season. It could be a confidence thing, a protest against the manager, or a number of other reasons. The manager knows what he has to do, and the players will one day realize that it's their job to perform. So, welcome Chris. First question, after what has been a rocky week for Marcus Rashford, can we expect to see him start against Copenhagen in what is a must-win game tonight? Chris Wheeler, it's a close call, and that says a lot about Rashford's season so far. I believe Ten Hag when he says Rashford was injured for the game at Fulham, but it did look suspicious after he criticized the player for celebrating his birthday after the Manchester Derby defeat. Alejandro Garnacho played on the left at Craven Cottage and did okay, so, you're right, it will be interesting to see who gets the nod in Copenhagen tonight. I think it will be Rashford, but I wouldn't be surprised if Garnacho keeps his place either. In our Manchester United Confidential column this week, yourself and other contributors reported that the future of the atmosphere section at Old Trafford is under threat. Why are the club risking alienating even more fans with something like this? Chris Wheeler, I really don't know. You would have thought that maintaining a good relationship with the Red Army is in the club's interests, particularly after such a bumpy start to the season. It seems like an issue that can be easily resolved if United keep the allocation as it is or ease back on their requirements regarding season tickets. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I would have thought they can sort this out. There have been other issues between United and TRA in the past which have been ironed out. Despite a few boos here and there, the fans have stayed behind the club this season, and it needs to stay that way. And what is going on with Raphael Varane? Ten Hag confirmed he was dropped for tactical reasons recently, which doesn't sound great for a player of his supposed quality. Chris Wheeler, another good question. Something doesn't seem right here. Varane has had his injury problems, mainly with his knees, but he's an automatic starter when fit and a hugely experienced player. Suddenly, he was left out of the derby for tactical reasons, ill for the Newcastle defeat, and then an 89th minute sub at Fulham. If he doesn't start in Copenhagen, there will be questions. I think he will, though, with Maguire moving to the left side of central defense. It's symptomatic of a difficult start to the season for Ten Hag that there have been issues surrounding Varane, Casemiro, and Rashford, 3 of his go-to players last season. Another question, has Ten Hag finally run out of patience with Antony? He's been well off the pace and has been linked with the exit. Chris Wheeler, the problem with Antony, one of several, you could argue, is that no player is more closely associated with Ten Hag. He played under Eric at Ajax, and UTD really pushed the boat out to